Okay, hello and welcome. Today we're going to deal with the task type that is called double question. So we have already looked at all the IELTS essay types. So we had opinion essay, do you agree or disagree? Opinion essay, advantages and disadvantages, problems and solutions. Yes, and do you have anything else? And now we're going to deal with the type that is called double question. Double question, it means that there are just two questions. There are two questions in the in the task. Right, and the topic that we're going to have today is international news. Oh yes, we also discuss both views. Absolutely, I was thinking about which one I have skipped. So discuss both views. There can be discuss both views or discuss both views and give your opinion. Right. So, and this is the last one. So after this, we're going to have the second round, and we're going to do each task type again. Well, maybe except for discuss both views. Double question. This is the least common probably. Especially for academic IELTS. But it still can be used in general. So the topic here is the international news is a source of knowledge about the world. How far can journalists be trusted, and what are the qualities of a good journalist? So basically, how you can write this essay is just well, you have an introduction. It's like usually 3 sentences, a general statement about how important information is in the modern world, maybe. Then you paraphrase this sentence, topic sentence, and then you express your opinion, or you say that you're going to look at this issue in the essay, like this. And then the first paragraph will can be like can answer the first question, and the second paragraph can answer the second question. That would probably be the easiest way to structure an essay. But this is not the only possible way. So maybe you can, for example, say that well, there is one quality, and journalists should be trusted. Another quality, journalists should not be trusted. Well, some the variant that I'm going to show is not the only possible variant. So some topical vocabulary. Journalist. There are some synonyms like correspondent, news reporter, newsreader, or newsmaker. I think I will just send this to you on Skype. So if you wish, you can also, while you're writing your essay, you can also look at this presentation, because it will then disappear. Just 1 second. Okay, here we go. So, right. Then synonyms for news, they can be current affairs or current events. An expression that you need here is to associate события, so to cover events, or touch upon events, or highlight events, or shed light upon events. These 4 should be enough. Then you can also expose the ills of the society, right? Then uncover the truth, or to reveal the truth. That's what an ideal journalist should do. You can say, this is an expression, first and foremost. You can also use it for other essays, like the most important thing is a trustworthy journalist should be first and foremost independent. Okay, then they should provide unbiased account of an event. Unbiased means objective. When there is a bias in your in the way you present, or in the way you highlight events, then it means you're subjective. And neither will they be tempted nor forced to, for example, to put a gloss of information, or give a certain slant to information, like this. Then преувеличивать, you can say to stretch the truth, to exaggerate, or to make a mountain out of a molehill. Okay. Right. In Russian we say делать из мухи слона. So mountain, гора, molehill, холмик, который делает крот. Right, mole. To give a certain slight to information can also mislead or misinform the public or brainwash the public. Okay, so can you please write in the chat some qualities that a good journalist should have and what they should do? Just some ideas. The questions for the essay are, how far can journalism be trusted? What are the qualities of a good journalist? So can you please write adjective, like honest, for example, and what he should view or opinions, or he should provide information without giving a certain slant to it. Okay, so some quality and description what this journalist should do. Okay, a journalist should be well informed. He should know the information about the situation, or he should be knowledgeable about the situation, right? Well informed. Okay, honest. Honesty, integrity, these are provide trustworthy information, right? And honest, right? A journalist should be honest. Okay, maybe any other ideas? So here's what I have, and maybe you can add something. So a trusted journalist should not be affected by others, so he shouldn't be influenced, and he should be incorruptible, or you can say unpurchasable. Well, this maybe it's not realistic, but you can write about it. So you can mention bribery-free journalism when there are no bribes, when journalists do not take bribes, and you can describe them a perfect journalist as a man of probity. Человек безукоризненной честности. What they shouldn't do is they should not, well, should be dishonest, and they should not distort information. Okay, искажать. They should not try to make it more sensational, or should not mislead or misinform the public. Okay, they should check and verify facts that they are writing about. Okay, so not only they should have good intuition and know what news will be read. Okay, but this is not about honest. I'm not sure this is about our topic. Let's have a look again at the topic. The international news is a source of knowledge about the world. How far can they be trusted, and what are the qualities of a good journalist? So it's about trusting journalists and not making the newspaper more effective. I'm not sure that this is a good example for this topic. Well, it would be good to write about journalists in general, but if we are talking about a good journalist, meaning honest journalist, once again, here's the topic. So maybe this is not the popularity and making the news, making it more sensational, is not what is expected of a good journalist in well, meaning an honest one. Okay, a good journalist should check and verify facts and should be diligent. Усердный. Sometimes journalists do not do due diligence in verifying the facts that they're writing about. Also should be knowledgeable about the topic that he or she is writing about. And sometimes, you can also mention this, journalists sometimes make claims that researchers did not make. For instance, maybe you know about the Mozart effect. There was some research that said that if children listen to Mozart music when they are very little, then they will develop their abilities for music a little bit more, a little bit better. But journalists wrote that if children listen to Mozart music, they become they all become genius, which is not true, which original researchers did not make this claim. Okay, so sometimes there might be slight correlation between what what original research said, and journalists sometimes make sweeping statements. Right, they should be brave or courageous and should not be afraid to tell the truth. Absolutely. Okay, and maybe to expose the ills of the society would be better here. Okay, обнажать пороки общества. To expose the ills of the society is even better than to tell the truth here. Okay, a good journalist should have good reputation, which is hard to achieve but easy to lose. And they should be held accountable for what they publish, and not just, well, publish whatever they want. They should have personal integrity and have certain principles and should not be self-serving. Right. So you mentioned, for instance, one example of what was it? Sometimes journalists want the headlines to sound more sensational. So, for instance, the Pope, it's the head of the Roman Catholic Church, visited New York, and while he was going down the plane, there was a group of journalists, and they asked him, "What is your opinion of brothel houses in New York?" Brothel houses, this is what we call in Russian public houses with prostitutes. And he said, "So what is your opinion on brothel houses of New York?" And he said, "Sorry, what houses?" After this, the headlines were like this. The first question of the Pope was about New York brothel houses. Okay, so this is an example of sensational information. Let's write the introduction. I prepared some kind of a constructor that you could use here. Please remember that mass media, this is plural because one medium, too many media, and that's why you say mass media are, not is. Or mass media influence the world. You don't say influences. Okay, so to make the first sentence, you can state it like this. By the way, what you have on the left can be used to start almost any sentence, almost in any essay. So they are worth memorizing after the lesson. Given the fact that undeniably or undoubtedly, also this undeniable is the fact that, please do not change anything in this construction. If you use it, you just write it the way it is. Undeniable is the fact that, and then you write London is the capital of Great Britain. So don't change it because this is a very advanced, very difficult construction. If you choose it, it's very good for your score, but don't change anything because this is fronting, and you put the adjective in the beginning. Don't change anything. Don't say it is or anything like this. Then few will deny that. It is a well-known fact that. It is widely acknowledged that. And you can write after one of these phrases, you can write something like, mass media to a great extent influence the way people see the world, or mass media to a great extent, I'm sorry, this is D here, great extent. People are susceptible to the influence of mass media. Or then mass media shape the world significantly, or no, maybe this not. So shape the world significantly to a large extent. Mass media influence the way people see the events or people perceive the events, which is even better. Then, well, this can be the first sentence, like general, and then taking this fact into consideration, or given the power that they have, reporters or journalists should be unbiased, should be independent, should have personal integrity, should have certain principles, should be trustworthy, should be reliable, not to mislead the public or not to misinform the public, or to provide accurate account of the events. Or you can also write it in a different way. You can say, very few will deny that a reporter should provide an accurate account of events or be trustworthy. While a vast majority of people want to see an accurate account of events in mass media, there seems to be no agreement as to what qualities a reliable journalist should have. And then express your opinion. I believe that, I'm convinced that. Okay, you can even say, не говоря о том, что, not to mention or let alone the fact that. Okay, so now you have about 5 minutes to write your, well, maybe even less, because here you have the general statement, a way to paraphrase sentence 2, and then just instead of this, you can also try to write something like this. So here's the first sentence. You try to use the beginning from here and the end from here. It will be maybe even faster for you to write. And then sentence 2, something from here. And sentence 3, you should write your opinion. Please write it yourself. You have 5 minutes. You can write one sentence at a time, or if you want, you can write the complete introduction. So if you want to look at the presentation yourself at your own speed, at your own pace, you can open this file from Skype that I sent. I sent the same file to you, so if you wish, you can use that. Okay, so undeniable is the fact that mass media influence the way people see the events. Okay, taking this fact into consideration, запятая, comma, reporters should have personal integrity not to misinform the public. Yes, you need to write, I believe. You need to express your opinion too here. Yes, that's right. This is a typical structure of an introduction. First, there's general statement, then something directly connected to the topic, and third one, it will be either an outline of your essay. So in this essay, I'm going to have a look at the qualities a journalist should have, or you can say, I believe that a journalist should be first and foremost independent, for example. Well, maybe in a real exam, or even when you write your essays, you can leave this line empty until you write all the both paragraphs, because then you will know exactly what kind of opinion you're going to express. So sometimes when people, even when they make a plan, they change their opinion in the middle, and so maybe you will change it. So you can leave this line empty in the introduction, and then just add it at the end. Okay, so let me tell you. Undeniable is the fact that mass media influence the way people perceive the events. Taking this fact into consideration, journalists should have certain principles not to mislead the public. In the rest of this essay, I will make an effort to briefly describe what personality a reporter should have to be relied upon. Okay. Uh, I don't like the last, just in terms of style, to be relied upon. So, what personality a reporter should have to be, uh, because, well, it's like to be trustworthy. To rely in passive voice doesn't sound very natural, I'm afraid. But well, that wouldn't be a mistake. So you haven't used the word trustworthy, so probably you can write it here. So reporters should have to be trustworthy. I would recommend this. Okay, so here is my example. Undeniable is the fact that mass media should provide accurate accounts of current events happening in various spheres of human life. In fact, mass media to a great extent influence the way people see the world. However, there seems to be little, if any, agreement as to what qualities a trustworthy journalist should have. I'm convinced that given the power they have, not only should reporters be unbiased and honest, but also unaffected by others and knowledgeable about the events they shed light upon. Okay, so this is my example, and Tatiana. I believe that brilliant reputation and experience will help the journalist to be trustworthy. Okay, so if you write this, then your paragraph should be about a brilliant reputation and experience. Maybe if you write about something else in your main body paragraph, maybe you will need to change this sentence. So it is also possible. If you're ready to write the whole paragraph about good reputation, then okay, this will be the main topic sentence. Okay, so now we're going to write the main body paragraph, and maybe we can start with qualities rather than how far journalists can be trusted, because it would be more logical to start with qualities and then say how far they should be trusted. But if you wish to start with the first question, you can start with the first question. Again, you need to make a topic sentence. Then there should be, well, some kind of explanation of your topic sentence. And then there should be an example. And after this, there should be a mini conclusion. Well, sometimes you can, if you don't have time, you skip an example. Sometimes you skip a mini conclusion or a wrap sentence. Here's my example. The first thing that is worth mentioning here is that a good journalist is a person who is committed to informing the public and reporting the events in an unbiased way. It is evident that if a reporter covers the current affairs being subjected to third-party influences, he or she, beyond a shadow of doubt, will distort the information he presents. For instance, most broadcasting companies in Russia are controlled or in some other way dependent on the government, and President Putin in particular. As a result, the quality of reported news is greatly tainted. It's a mistake. There should be I here. Um, okay. So there is one thing, maybe the example here, I just wrote it as a joke, of course. Well, there is some truth to it. But in IELTS, it's not the best way to speak about politics. So, well, you can write it. We can write about it. There is no problem with this. But in IELTS exam, such topics as politics and religion are to be avoided. They are to be avoided, well, in your speaking test. So the examiner cannot ask you questions about politics or religion. And there will be no essay topics about politics or religion. But it's up to you. Or if you want to touch upon a political topic, I'm convinced that you can do this because there are no official requirements that you cannot do this. The examiner cannot, but if you want, you can. So so please write your topic sentence. You have about 10 minutes for this. So hello, Vitaly. We are writing on the topic of journalists. Um, this is the topic. The international news is a source of knowledge about the world. How far can journalists be trusted? What are the qualities of a good journalist? You can look at the presentation. It's in Skype. It's on Skype. You can download it from there. And we have already written the introduction. And now we're writing the first paragraph about kind of qualities a good journalist should have. The way to write your main body paragraph, you can start it like this. It is not uncommon for journalists to, and may mention one of these, exaggerate or even distort results of scientific research, or jump to conclusions, or make statements on issues they are not well informed about, or write about topics they know little about without verifying the facts. And after this, here, you need to give an explanation of this topic sentence and give an example. And here is the conclusion. The conclusion is ready. If you want, this is an idea for your main body paragraph. Okay, so Tatiana, firstly, it is well known that people are more inclined, because it's okay. People are more inclined to trust who was not mentioned. To trust those who were not mentioned. In any antisocial or yellow page editions. What I mean here is that journalists should have a good reputation, not repute, since his or her first interview. Okay, okay. Um, maybe instead of what I mean here, you should make it more impersonal. What it means is that, or you can say, in other words, journalists should have. Maybe in other words, it's better. Try not to write I or we unless you express your own opinion in the introduction or in concluding. Okay, for example, being famous among such a great newspapers as New York Times or I think it's Guardians, not Guardians. It is unacceptable to have a work in a suspicious unknown editors because it will decrease the reputation of the first mentioned newspapers and people's opinion about them at all. Okay, not first mentioned, but above mentioned. You can say mentioned above or aforementioned. Aforementioned is one word. Spell it as one word. Okay. And probably not decrease, but it will spoil the reputation. Не меньшит, а ухудшит репутацию. It will spoil the reputation. Okay, so Tatiana, you can start writing the second paragraph. Here's one more example that you can use. A salient example is the Mozart effect, which was hyped by journalists and summarized with conclusions that original researchers did not make. Okay, and here is also an example of a Chinese essay or an essay written by a Chinese candidate. It was for band 7. I will read it after we discuss Vitaly's variant. Okay, firstly, after first unit comma, the readers usually raise awareness of the news while accumulating information provided by journalists, considering it to be reliable information. Considering it to be reliable, you don't need to repeat information because you already had it. So while accumulating information provided by journalists, considering it to be reliable, a lot of a lot of newspapers, just a lot of newspapers, which are monopolized by powerful institutes and by companies' profits, provide customers with distorted information to distract them from the breaking issues, disadvantages to the authorities. Okay. Uh, Without it, consider this, or journalists should be honest, considering this, or having considered this, like this, рассмотрев это, having considered this. Journalists should be honest, optimistic, accurate decision maker. Then it should be an honest, optimistic, accurate decision maker, and intelligent. And also he should create a trusting sites, not to be influenced by the authorities. Okay, Natalia, very good. Except for a, and then sides, it's a is singular, sides that's plural. As for the rest, it's very nice. Very nice. It looks like you have been studying English for not for 1 week, but for maybe 3 months since our last lesson. Okay, and here is an example of an essay. The international news is source of knowledge about the world. How far can journalists be trusted? What are the qualities of a good journalist? Many feel that perfectly objective journalism is impossible and that all journalism contains some degree of subjectivity. In light of this, it is argued that good journalists are those who make efforts to reduce subjectivity in their reporting, mainly via two methods. Firstly, they choose to report for agencies that allow them freedom of press, and secondly, they accompany their reporting with primary sources of data that have granted themselves to help add additional objectivity to their story. And then the main paragraph. Firstly, good journalists are those who work without being subjected to third-party influences. For reporters working for the Chinese Xinhua news agency, this is unfortunately impossible. Stories reported by Xinhua must be initially approved by China's ruling government party. Of course, the political agenda of the party calls into question the credibility of all Xinhua reporting. As a result, the quality of anything an inhuman reporter says is greatly tainted by the agency for which they work. Okay, second paragraph. Further, good journalists must also make effort to report on data captured from primary sources. For example, independent news agencies such as CNN capture most of their videos directly where they occur. These videos allow viewers to draw their own conclusions regarding worldwide events and thus add much more objectivism to the stories they report. Thus, good journalists are those who make efforts to present facts with as little subjective comment as possible. Conclusion. To conclude, good journalists are people who can both work without third-party influence and who can capture primary sources to accompany their reporting. It is felt that only those journalists who can practice the above should be trusted. This is Band 7. Okay, and now here's an example of my second paragraph. Where is it? There are some problems opening it. Okay. So another important quality a reliable newsmaker should possess is honesty. Under no circumstances can a good journalist distort information or try to make it sound more sensational. To elaborate further, journalists should make every effort possible to rely solely on primary sources. A salient example of this are CNN news reports, where videos of events are captured exactly where they occur, and viewers have the chance to draw their own conclusion. Thus, ideal journalists are those who give no slant to information and let their viewers think for themselves. And conclusion. Taking into consideration all the facts mentioned above, one can say beyond any doubt that only those reporters who possess aforementioned qualities can be properly trusted. Okay, so now you have about 10 minutes to write the second body paragraph. So, another important quality, the journalists have to provide exact information instead of focusing on untruthful information for improving only companies' or newspapers' rating. They should have different and special qualities to tackle and handle the untruthful information and provide exact information to the world. Okay, very nice. Uh, in the beginning, it's correct grammatically, but it's better. Another important quality is that journalists have to, not the journalists, but journalists in general. Okay, then it's considered in an academic essay, even if you take general IELTS, you should say it is considered, so there should be no contractions. It is considered to be important. Before that, there is no comma. It is considered to be important that journalists, without the, should have different and special skills to check and handle the untruthful information and provide. Okay, it's the same. Same sentence again. In other words, they must have in the area trusted people. They must have some trusted people, well, in their field, who are reliable sources of information. Okay. Before who, there is no comma needed either. Maybe you can also include an example here, Vitaly, because you only provide ideas, and in IELTS you're supposed to extend your ideas and what is it called? And you should, well, prove it by using examples. So you should explain, expand, explain, and give, well, and give examples. Okay. Yes, Vitaly, for you. So when you have an idea, you can present an idea, then extend it, give an argument, and support, give an example. And after this, you can also make a mini conclusion. And one idea for one paragraph will be enough. So your language now is fine. That's good, because it's always better than what you used to write. Um, but for task achievement, uh, there are chances that you will not get very high score because in IELTS they expect you to present, extend, and support ideas to get 7. If you need 6, then okay. But if you need 7 for task achievement, then you need to present, extend, and support. If you need 8 in task achievement, it says you should present them well and provide well extended and well supported ideas. It means that you can only support well and extend well only one idea in one paragraph. Okay, because if you have like 5 ideas, this will not help you get a better score because this is not a test of ideas, it's a test of language. Okay, so Tatiana, secondly, extended knowledge and experience also play an influential role in a way journalists can be trusted. For example, there is no evidence that graduates from well-known and respectable institutes such as Harvard is with H, not the G. Harvard and Cambridge are more attractive for hiring in a worldwide news program as journalists. So is not used before plural, as journalists without because this is only in singular. The reason for this is a practice in a different part of the world and statement of reliable information which students get there. Try to avoid get in essays because this is for speaking. So receive reliable information which students receive there. Never write get as like get married, get up, or get information, get money. Try to replace it with receive or something like this, or become in some cases. So again, instead of so, it's better to say therefore, because so is for speaking, not for writing. Therefore, since since the first interview, future correspondence influenced in providing correct information. Okay. As for the topic, yes, you're right. It's a very good language, but it's deviation from the topic, and you'll be penalized in task achievement. So your lexical resource and grammar could be enough for 6.5 or 7, but your task achievement for this paragraph would probably be like 4 or 5. Yes, you can rewrite it and then send it to me. Okay. So Vitaly, if you want, you can write a conclusion now. We still have time for this. Okay, so Natalia, I strongly believe that there is a strong correlation. Strongly strong. Well, maybe you need to change. I firmly believe that, or I'm convinced that there is strong correlation between the quality of current event information appearing in mass media, or which has appeared. So you can either say appearing in mass media or which has appeared in mass media, and the corruptibility of a newsmaker. Therefore, comma, if news was not the mirror of real facts, comma, nobody would like, only one negation, только одно отрицание. Nobody would like to spend time and money listening and reading the articles which could inform audience about nothing. Okay. For instance, my friends never buy a yellow paper such as The Star, which is focused on the life of pop stars, because 90% of information is just a fake. Thus, an honored journalist ought to have nothing in common with the lie. With lies. It's not the lie, but to tell lies. Tell the truth, but tell lies without the, because there can be many of them. So, lies. Yes. Okay, we still have some time to write a conclusion. Okay, so there are two questions in the theme of the essay, and we devote both paragraphs to one question about features of a journalist. Right, so it means that you need to include some information in the conclusion that such journalists should be trusted, who possess these qualities, like this. So, for instance, here you can have it in the conclusion. So the journalists who possess the qualities, they can be properly trusted. If you feel that this is not enough, and it would be better if you devoted more time to the second question, you can include some information in this paragraph about how to trust, and some information here also. So yes, you're right. You need to answer both questions fully. Ideally, you need to include information about trusting journalists as well. Yes, you can say in your example, like my friends do not trust yellow papers. Yes, so you can say that they would never trust uh, well, a journalist who does not have these qualities. You could also mention this in your paragraph as well. That's a good point. Yes. In conclusion, the journalist's trust builds on all the listed qualities. Okay, including the not included, including the publication of truthful information and is not influenced by the authorities, and not being influenced, because you say including and another gerund, not being influenced. This is passive gerund that would be very good for grammar age, influenced. Okay, by the authorities. These qualities are you should mention not just authorities, but local rich businessmen, for example, too. So third party influences, you can call them. These qualities are an indispensable basis for creating the ideal image of a journalist. Possessing these qualities, a journalist will not only have the trust of people, but will also have respect for the society, from the society as a whole. Okay, will also have the respect for the society as a whole. You can make inversion here. Not only will a journalist have the trust of people, just put not only before journalist, and then it will be inversion. This will be very beneficial for your score as well. Okay, right. All right. So not only will they have the trust of people, but they will also have the respect of the society as a whole. Okay, there we go. All right. So please finish your essays. I have sent you on Skype. I sent you two examples of apology letters. So there can be formal apology and informal apology. Please choose one of the examples and write this letter for the next lesson. So you can choose formal, you can choose informal. Now you know the differences. It's just a type of letters that is possible. Please familiarize with this. Also, finish this essay, please, and write it to me to this email.